Welcome on in to Sports Memo Today, and happy start of the NFL season. If you're like me, it's honestly sometimes better than Christmas. You don't have to buy anybody any gifts, and hopefully by the end of the night, we're going to be the ones who are up some money, depending on how that Rams and Bills game goes. I'm Dan Alexander, happy to be with you, and we got a Football Thursday edition of Sports Memo Today coming your way. I got Rocky Atkinson joining me at the top, Ross Benjamin going to be batting cleanup, and you can get both of those guys as part of your Pick Your Team special. Head on over to sportsmemo.com, and you can pick anywhere from 2 handicappers up to 5 handicappers, and you can build your own dream lineup, get all of their plays. You can use code PYT10 that expires September 12th. So get your 10% discount now, and trust me, these guys are going to woo you over. They're going to be in your lineup when all's said and done by the end of Sports Memo today. So let's get into it. Let's welcome in our first guest making his debut here on Sports Memo Today. We got Rocky Atkinson. And Rock, I'm pumped to be doing a show with you, brother. I always love when we get to talk with like Kevin Dolan. We get the Irish accent. You got the nice Southern drawl you bring on here, man. So happy to finally have you on, Rock. How's it going, brother?
Hey, going good, Dan. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you, since it's your first time that we had you on here, Rocky, I always like throwing a little softball at you. The more you come on, tougher the questions are going to get, but just let people get to know you a little bit. How did you get into handicapping? How did you kind of find it as a viable source of income for you? When did you kind of fall in love with it, so to speak?
Well, Dan, it probably goes all the way back to my early teens. Actually, I was probably 12 or 13 years old. It's going to sound a little weird, but I knew way back then this is something I was very interested in. Started by watching the NFL Today on TV, and they had a segment at the very end where Jimmy the Greek would pick each game. I was fascinated by it. I started trying to do the same thing. I'd never been exposed to any kind of gambling before, unless you count my mother and my grandmother playing bingo. But not long after that, I started creating an NFL pool each week. Well, I would go around to my family members, maybe a couple friends, and we would pick every NFL game each week. And it started with everyone just putting $1 in. So we did that for a little while, and I actually moved it to $2. I probably won a couple times, but the pot was no bigger than $30. But back then, that was a pretty good bit of money to a 12, 13, 14-year-old, So that's kind of where it all started with me. Then later in life, me and a friend, I was probably 17, 18 years old, and we started betting $10 or $20 each week. And on Saturdays, we'd bet a ton of college football games. And then on Sunday, we would bet every side and total on every NFL game.
Everyone?
And then Monday night, every NFL game on Sunday, we bet every side and total.
Right?
Monday night, we were either trying to double our money up or we were trying to get back even. And of course, that's a rookie move. And I learned a lot about, not to do that anymore. But, that's where you learn, is making mistakes many years ago. But I became a sports handicapper in 96, and I started on the old America Online sports message boards. I gained a huge following from that. So I won a ton of people a lot of money for free. A couple years later, I had a site built, started getting my picks documented by several sports monitors, and then I've been doing it for about 27 years now. And as far as getting involved with Sports Memo, I've known Johnny for most of my 27 years as a sports handicapper. COVID hit, shut everything down. The first thing to come back was NASCAR. First race back was 15 minutes from my house in Darlington. And Johnny reached out and asked me if I'd like to come on board Sports Memo. And I told him, yeah, that'd be great. And then he asked me if I was interested in doing some NASCAR videos. And I responded pretty quickly, no. As a little bit nervous, in front of video or whatever. But he told me to think about it, and Prez would be contacting me soon, which he did. They talked me into doing it. And like I said, I was very nervous that first appearance. But looking back, man, I made some incredible friends doing the NASCAR show, and Steve Merrill, Andy Lang, and I'd definitely do it all over again.
Yeah, and he still mentions you every week. I'm the one who produces now that Life in the Fast Lane. That's the solo shot. And every week once the Stenhouse Award winner comes up, you best damn believe Steve Merrill and Rocky Atkinson are getting a plug. So you can check that out on Wager Talk's YouTube channel. They just passed 100,000 subscribers. So that's fun stuff right there. So Rock, let's get into some of those free plays, that actionable info that got you this big following, man. So let's start with the Baker Mayfield revenge game. The line is already flipped towards Carolina. So now we got Carolina as a 1.5-point favorite when the Cleveland Browns and whoever's going to be playing quarterback for them this week are coming to town. What do you think? That move legit, Rocky? How are you betting this game?
Yeah, I think it is. I like Carolina in this one. Main storyline here, you mentioned it. The Panthers named Baker Mayfield their starter, and he faces his former Browns team already in week 1 of the season. Deshaun Watson was supposed to be the Browns starter, but he was suspended for the first 11 games of the season. So Jacoby Brissett will get the start here for Cleveland. Baker said in the interview that it's not about revenge here, but deep down, you know that he has to want to get this win a little extra this weekend. He was in a similar situation in college where he transferred from Texas Tech to Oklahoma, and then he played the Red Raiders and beat them every time he faced them. So I think he's going to be a little extra focused for this one. Head coach Matt Rule, he needs a win here in front of this home crowd this weekend after going 10-23 in his first 2 years. So he's probably on the hot seat. And just a couple of trends here. Over the past 22 years, Cleveland 6-15-1 against the spread when playing in week 1. And they finished last year 2-6 against spread in their last 8 games. Carolina 4-0 against spread last 4 games when playing in September. So we have one team that's usually gets off to somewhat of a cold start against a team that normally gets off to a good start. I'm going to take the better quarterback here in Baker Mayfield and play Carolina Sunday.
The spot and the trend saying Carolina is the play, and Rocky rolling with it as well. Carolina laying the 1.5, your first free play here on Sports Memo Today. So let's talk the game that everybody's excited for, man. It's the Commanders and the Jaguars, right? Everybody's going to be tuning in on their TVs to this one. It's Doug Peterson and Carson Wentz, 2 guys I know well as an Eagles fan. So the Commanders 2.5-point favorites with the new look Jags coming to town here a little bit. What are you thinking in this one? Another lay it with the favorite, or you think this road dog might be barking a little?
Yeah, I like the small home favorite again in this one. You have Washington. They went out and got Carson Wentz, and he's going to start quarterback here in the opener. They're off a 7-10 season this past year, and I think they will be improved this year. Jacksonville went 3-14 last year, and I believe they also will be somewhat improved as well. Mm-hmm. But Jacksonville hasn't won on the road in 3 years. They're 1-5 straight up and against the spread the last 3 years when the line is +3 to -3. They're 0-9 straight up, 2-7 against spread the last 3 years, and they're 40-66 against spread last 106 non-conference games. They're 2-9 against spread the last 11 games on grass. They're 1-6 against the spread the last 7 games as an underdog. They're 1-7 against spread the last 8 games overall. They're 0-4 against spread the last 4 games as a road underdog. Washington is 6-1 straight up and against the spread the last 7 meetings overall versus Jacksonville, including 3-0 straight up and against the spread when playing at home. And Washington has covered 4 in a row in this series. So I'm going to recommend playing Washington on Sunday.
Washington laying the 2.5 under that key number of 3, so probably grab it now before it gets moving that way. Rocky, what do you have up tonight when people head on over to your page, sm.buzz/RA? You got any plays in action tonight, and what do you have for the weekend? I know you got some NASCAR stuff loaded for sure.
Yeah, Dan, tonight I do have a top 4% NFL best bet going. I do have a top 4% NFL going Sunday. And I have 2 college football plays going Saturday evening. Last year documented 70% with all my NFL picks, and I was documented 61% in the college football regular season. So I'm excited that NFL starts back tonight. And like you said, I will have some NASCAR this weekend, but it won't be up until Sunday afternoon.
There you go. Rocky Atkinson. Grab his plays now. Head on over sm.buzz/RA. Great having you on. You would never even know he was a little bit nervous. You definitely learned a lot in your life in the fast lane days. And let's roll on with our second guest here. We got Ross Benjamin coming back to the show. Always love seeing my guy RB in the saddle. So what, Ross, I'm wondering, man, football is back. Welcome on back. How's it going, Ross?
Exciting time of year, Dan. Love talking football, love talking sports betting, football betting in particular. And that's what we're going to
Yeah.
do today.
Yeah, we got a two-pack of plays, a little college football, a little NFL. I know the preseason was one of your big money makers. How'd you do through the preseason, and what do you have up for your clients heading into tonight?
I went 8-4 during the preseason. Thank you
Not
for
bad.
asking, Dan. Not bad, 67%. And that was my fifth top 10 finish over the last 11 years at a independent source that monitors those types of things. I do not have anything for tonight. You know why? Do you know why?
Why is that?
Because
Why is that?
I'm a Buffalo Bills fan.
Oh,
See,
your
I
Bills
was
up.
waiting for you to ask me why, and I was going to say,
You're all.
thanks for asking. I wish I could get this up there, but I can't.
Oh, I saw it. All you need is a flash of the Bills Mafia, and I love it, Ross, because the question I was going to ask you at the top, of course, is we always tell people bet with your head, not with your heart. But you're wearing your heart
Exactly.
quite literally on your sleeve with the Bills. So how did you get into being a Bills fan? You from up there, or you just fell in love with the team?
Look, I'm going to show my age. Okay, when I was a little guy, it used to be the Bills on NBC and the Giants on CBS here locally every week, and I had an affinity for the Bills in the early AFL days. I went to a couple games at the Rock Pile War Memorial
Oh,
Stadium. So I'm showing my age. My first game I saw in 1964, the Houston Oilers against the Buffalo Bills. I was 7 years old. George Blanda was a quarterback for the
Blanda.
Houston Oilers, and Daryl LaMonica was the quarterback for the Buffalo Bills. And of course, when the new stadium opened, my dad, I was 17 years old at the time, 16, I should say, bought season tickets, and the rest is history.
Yeah, that'll happen. I mean, my grandfather growing up was a huge time Bills fan, so I feel you
Oh,
on that
really?
one. Now, I'm from right
Where's your
outside of
grandfather from?
Philadelphia.
Where's your
So the
grandfather?
reason, yeah, so the reason why he became a huge Bills fan was because they
Yeah.
traveled to Ellis Island way back when.
Ah,
They lived in Buffalo for the longest time, and then they were just big time Buffalo Bills fans. They moved down to Philadelphia. That's when I was born with my parents, and then so I know all about suffering long time with your team, but that Super Bowl
yeah.
is going to be amazing for Bills Mafia. It's coming one day, and it's going to be
Yeah, I'm
glorious,
telling you, we
Ross.
went through that rough stretch in the early 90s where we lost four straight Super Bowls,
Yeah.
a lot of ridicule and criticism for that. But at the end of the day, think about this, Dan. Getting to the Super Bowl four straight years in this modern era, New England came close. They got their
Yeah.
three in a row, but getting there 4 years in a row is a major accomplishment of itself, and seven Hall of Famers from those teams. So, as much as it was agonizing watching those Super Bowls, especially the
Still
first one
historic.
when Norwood was wide right, it's still, yeah, you look back now and realize what an accomplishment that was.
Yeah, no, you're spot on, Ross. And guess what? They will rise again. So no worries. There's
Yes,
a lot of love in the marketplace for the Bills. So let's get talking here about a little college football, and then we'll swing it on
sure.
over to pros. We'll start with this Fresno State Oregon State game. This one, Ross, basically a pick 'em. Total 61 and a half. How are you going to be betting this one, RB?
Well, you look at last week's results, and I'm sure, the general public always has a short memory. So they're looking at Oregon
Mm,
State last week, huge win over Boise State, 34-17. But look, that's not the Boise State teams we've seen in years past. This is a mediocre team at best, and they were last year, and they will be this year. But give Oregon State credit. I mean, just as a small favorite, they came up with a 34-17 win. The big thing there is quarterback Hank Bachmeier of Boise State turned the ball over on his first three offensive possessions, and then was subsequently yanked from the game. And just like that, Oregon State was up 24-0. They did force 5 turnovers, which helped their cause. They also turned the ball over 3 times, which is a bit concerning. Looking back since 2015, Oregon State is 0-7 straight up in non-conference away games. So again, being a pick'em game, that takes some validity as to what that 0-7 straight up record indicates. Fresno State last week, they had a cupcake. They played Cal Poly. They won 35-7. Didn't break a sweat. But the big thing here, quarterback Jake Haener is going to be the difference, in my opinion, in this game. This guy's the real deal. Last year, the guy completes 67% of his passes, over 4,000 yards, 33 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. What's he do in week 1 against Cal Poly? How about 36 out of 42 for 377, a couple TD passes, and no interceptions. And here's another nice straight up stat for you, Dan. Since 2017, Fresno State 7-1 straight up in non-conference home games, and their only loss in that sequence was a narrow 38-35 decision against the Minnesota Golden Gophers. And I am going to take Fresno State here, whether they're a pick'em +1, -1. I'm all over the Bulldogs in this spot.
Man, Ross, I love the handicapping approach. Such a nice synergy between game situation, just as much as the trends, just as much as the stats. That's how you build the following and the bankroll that you have, Ross. So definitely check him out, sm.buzz/RB. So from college football, we'll talk a little NFL, and it's divisional home dog time, man. There's a lot of them this week. Jameis Winston, he got the LASIK surgery, and now everybody's in love with the Saints. The Saints are now up to 5.5-point road favorites as they're taking on the Falcons. Falcons are tabbed as potentially being one of the worst teams in the league this year. I don't know. This market love for the Saints is making me scratch my head. What do you think? You agree with it?
I agree wholeheartedly, Dan, and I love the LASIK surgery prelude. I mean, does that mean that now he knows the difference between the color of his jerseys and the opponents? Because the last time Jameis Winston was a full-time starter, folks, he threw 30 interceptions in the regular season. And guess what? 7 of those, 7 were returned for touchdowns. So if you're betting with Jameis Winston as a favorite, you have to hold your breath hoping, is he going to make that big critical error he's been known to do? And I think he'll make at least 1, if not 2, in this contest. And you're right. Look, New Orleans is a favorite to win this division, the NFC South, but it's by default. Who else are they contending with this year? Atlanta, who you just alluded to. I agree with the fact that Atlanta probably is going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL this year, but you never know. Carolina, they have their issues. So again, Tampa Bay, I mean, with Brady, I guess you could say that they're one of the favorites. But I see a lot of so-called experts picking New Orleans to win this division. I have no idea why. Anyway, to get back to the game, I think New Orleans is overvalued in this spot. It's not about who's the better team on paper. It's not about who's going to be the better team at the end of the year. It's picking a winner today. And in my opinion, this 5.5 is way too much in a division game on the road and also in a season opener. As a matter of fact, I got an NFL betting angle on this game, and it goes like this. Anytime you have a NFL underdog of 6.5 or more, and they're playing in game 1, and they won 7 or less games a season before. Atlanta went 7-10 last year. Those teams have gone 27-7 against the spread. That's over 77% since 2000. And they won 19 of those 33 games outright. So I'm going to take a small shot here on the Atlanta Falcons plus the 5.5 over New Orleans. Look, I'm not going to call for the outright upset. It wouldn't shock me if that occurs, but I'll gladly take those points over the key number of 3 and between that key number of 6. So I love those 5 and 5.5 dogs in the NFL.
There you go. The 5.5. I'm with you there, Ross. And I also, as you were chatting, I just, I'm a big prop better, and I was just looking through Jameis Winston to throw an interception, only minus 130. I think that one that's going to make my card, because I'm with you. There's no way. There's no such thing as a guarantee, but I will be floored if Jameis Winston gets out of here without an interception. Let's be real
Yeah, well,
here.
that
He can
line
throw 4
speaks volumes.
touchdowns.
Right.
Yeah.
That line speaks. Minus 130. That speaks volumes to me.
Yeah, I'm right there
Usually
with
you
you,
won't get a
Ross.
price like that, huh?
Yes. So I'm right there with you, Ross. I'm wondering, what do you have up for tonight? You said you're not in play in the NFL. You have any plays going tonight, or what you have heading into NFL weekend? I know you already got some CFB plays you're excited about and some NFL, so let the folks know.
Hey, college football tomorrow night. I got a 3% winner, Louisville in Central Florida. That's on the card. And then 6 big plays on Saturday, a 3-game package at noon, a top play, 5% top play, Pittsburgh and Tennessee. Also have a couple other games up on the board right now, revenge game of the week. Look, college football, 4-2 last week in the opening week, not bad. And going back to last year at SportsMemo, 43-30 run with my college football picks. That's good for over 59% and just shy of 60. So really excited about the week 2 of the college football slate. And then on Sunday, I'll have anywhere from 4 to 5 plays and also a play on Monday night in the NFL. Those will be up by tomorrow at SportsMemo. So check me out, folks. My streaks are right there on my homepage at SportsMemo. Look forward to a huge winning weekend.
Always love having you on, Ross. Appreciate you. And remember, nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. So hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, head on over to sportsmemo.com, click the pick your team, and personally hand select your dream team lineup. Just give these guys a thanks by throwing them in your 5-team lineup. You can just do both of them, or you can add 3 other handicappers that you love over at SportsMemo. Use the code PYT up until September 12th, and you can take 10% off the pick your team. So hopefully you enjoyed the show. If you did, like and subscribe. Huge thanks to Rocky Atkinson and Ross Benjamin. I'm Dan Alexander. Enjoy the game tonight, and we'll talk to you Monday on SportsMemo Today.